Hi everyone, welcome today to lesson 42, rounding numbers to estimate. And rounding numbers and then doing estimation is so helpful. I use it all the time when I'm grocery shopping or I'm wanting to do some mental math and I'm wanting to see if my answer came close to the other answers. The first thing you need to know why this is so great is we first have to talk about multiplying numbers that are multiples of 10 or multiples of 100. What the heck am I talking about? When a number is a multiple of 10, or it will end in just one zero. When it's a multiple of 100, it has two zeros. When we're multiplying, you know what it's like to multiply 3 times 10. You automatically know that that's 30. So when we're multiplying in multiples of 10 or 100, we know that the front number, the first digit is all that we have to worry about, because then we have our 2 zeros that follow, or our 1 0, depending on what we're multiplying. Let me explain. Our first thing, 200 times 3. Now, you can take, I'm gonna grab my marker. You could take and you could say 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 2 is 6. And you could do that all very carefully, methodically. Or you could also think of it like this. 3 times 2 we know is 6, and we know that this is 600. Or you could even just take it and look at this part, and you know that 2 times 3 is 6, and then you put the 2 zeros there. I want you to practice this. Another one is they had 6 school buses that could hold 40 kids each. How many kids did they have on the school bus? Well, I'm looking at it right here. We have 40 kids each school bus, and I can look at this and say, I know that 4 times 6 is 24, because I know my math facts. And then I have this 0, and I just pop the 0 there. So this becomes really helpful because you can take a number, I'm at the grocery store, something's going to be $6.99. I can round up and say it's $7, and I can multiply it. Or if I'm at the grocery store and I'm wanting to buy something that's I'm wanting to buy 3 things, each one is $19. I can round up and say, you know what, I'm going to pretend like each item is about $20, and then do the multiplication, rather than going, okay, I'm buying 3 things that are $19 a piece, and then doing all the math. I can just say to myself, 3 times 20, I'm going to be spending 60 bucks. Okay, our next step, now that the first part is learning how to multiply with multiples of 100. You just add the zeros. You do the first part and then add the zeros. The second thing is knowing how to get them to that they have zeros on the ends. So we need to talk about rounding. Here's our number 472. Now they want us to round this to 2 different things, and they're going to be different places. So you've got to pay close attention. 472 rounded to the nearest hundred is going to be, 472 is right about here. So if we were rounding it to our nearest hundred, here's 400 and here's 500, we can clearly see that 500 is the closest. So to round it to that would be 500. Next part, they want us to round to the nearest 10. And so I look at this, and we have to determine which 10s we're talking about. So I look right here, it's in between the 470 and 480. But I know that 472 does not look like that, but we're going to put it right here. 472 is much closer to 470. We look at our 10, then we look next door and we say, which one, what are we going to do? Are we going to go up or stay or go down? And in this situation, we know that 472 rounded to the nearest 10 is going to be 470. Really quick question. If our number were 475, where would we round to? We look at the 1 and we say anything 5 and up, 5 goes on up. So we would know that the 7 would go and it would round to 480 because anything 5 and greater rounds up. In this one, I want just to make sure that you have this solid. 5,280 feet to the nearest 100. So we've got to know our place values. We need to know what they're asking. They want to know what's the nearest 100. It's either going to be 520 or 530. 5,000. It'll either be 5,200 or 5,300. Got to correct myself. They know you. I know that with 5,280 is closer to 500, rounds over to 5,300. You can clearly see this. So to round it to the nearest 100 would be 5,300. So we've talked about multiplying multiples of 10 and 100. We've talked about rounding. Now here's where the magic happens. We have some numbers and they say estimate and round these and then add. Because they've said rounding it, that is great for me. It means that I don't have to do all these nitpicky things. I can just round it to the nearest 100. So I look here, here's 3 and here's 6. I look at the 6, greater than 5, so I know that this is going to round up, and that's going to be 400. Now I look at my other number, 385. I look at my 8. I tell myself 8 is bigger than is on the rounding up end for 3. And once more, I round to 400. Now they want me to add these two together. And I can say, perfect, 800, because this is easy math for us to do. Instead of 2 plus 5, 6 plus 8, 3. It just takes a lot more time here. And so this is a way to streamline some of our work. I also use this when I am actually adding these numbers up and I want to kind of check and make sure I'm in the right ballpark. Sometimes I will get adding and I'll forget to do something and my answer won't be near this number. And that tells me that I need to look back at my math work. I'm excited to have you join me on the practice set. We've got a lot to cover on this. I want you to practice this. I want it to be very comfortable in finding multiples of 10 and 100, multiplying them, and also knowing how to round. This will help you tons.